Hello and welcome to Journeys and Journals. I'm Bernie Martin Beck, and I have a treat for you today.
Need to put that away.
101. They've come from Highway 101, and I would like you to meet Carl. You are 101?
Yeah, I was 101 January the 10th.
And you live where?
Brookings, Oregon.
Now, Brookings is right out there on the coast.
Right on the ocean.
Who'd you bring with you?
My daughter, Laverna, no, Lois.
Donna.
Donna. I'll name 6 of them before I get the right one.
Because you have 6 daughters?
I have 6 daughters. Yeah, the one picture there.
He used to always start out, he'd say, Eleanor Mildred Max Lois, Donna! He'd get the right name.
And then you'd come running.
Yeah.
Donna, welcome to Better Life TV.
Thank you.
Now, we have all kinds of things here, but let's start with who these folk are.
It's my mother and father before they were married. It'd have to be, goodness sakes, in the 30s somewhere.
Right, because you kids you're just about my age, I hear.
I guess it's 1932. I'm 71, yes.
And
The week before I met her, I had a dream,
yes.
and I knew what she looked like.
Ooh, she fit perfectly into your
Yeah.
dream.
It was amazing. There were 2 girls, she and another one. I dreamt about them, and I knew instantly that she was the one.
And how old were you when you met her?
Oh, 26 or 7.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And she was only 17
Oh,
when I met her.
Now, I have information here about you're 100 years old. How was that?
You have to talk louder, I can't hear you.
Well, we can start with when you were a little kid or when you had a birthday. 100 years old.
Yeah, 100 years old.
And where was that birthday party?
Birthday party, you bet, yeah.
It was at the Elks Lodge in
That was the
Brookings.
Elks Lodge. There must have been 50 or 60 people there.
Well, that's a big cake. I
Yeah.
can see that. You have other things that you do at the Elks Lodge.
Huh?
You do some other things at the Elks Lodge.
Oh yeah, I used to shoot pool.
What's this about pool? You play pool
Yeah.
and you're a champion?
I won that 1990.
And you were only 90 years old, man.
No, when he was 99, he won the tournament. Was when he was 99.
Well, I got a picture of you playing pool. When did you get an interest in playing pool?
Huh?
How long have you been playing pool?
Oh, I played it off and on when I was young, in my 16, 18, 20. I played. I'm right-handed,
Okay.
but my body is left-handed.
Ah,
My whole body is left-handed. Shovel, everything I do is left-handed. But I write right-handed. I suppose the teacher made me change, I don't know. But I can write left-handed, a little.
Tell us where were you born?
Huh?
Where were you born?
I was born in a dugout in South Dakota.
Right in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Now, you don't remember anything about that, right?
No, I don't remember when I was little, but afterward, yes.
And it was in a dugout?
I was born in a dugout. There was no lumber. So all of the homesteaders had a hole in the hillside someplace, go down to the creek, and they got some logs and bushes and branches and put a roof on, and they throw dirt on top of that roof. And that's where I was born. I lived in it till I was 3 years old. Then they finally got lumber enough, so we got a tar paper shanty.
So you really lived in,
Yeah, that's right.
and this was long before the Dust Bowl.
Huh?
This was before the Dust Bowl hit
Yeah.
America. But things were tough. What prompted you to move west, young man?
Well, see, we was married and we were 2 years old, and my brother went to Montana, Bitterroot Valley, Montana, and he said, "Carl, there's sure a nice country here," and so I went out and picking apples in the fall. And then, of course, in wintertime, there's nothing to do after that unless you happen to get a job of packing apples or
Right.
something like that. And so that's what I done. I tried to pack apples every winter, but that only last a month or so, and then you'd be unemployed for a month, couple of 3 months.
And there wasn't unemployment insurance.
Not at that time.
So, other than eating apples, that's what prompted you to move to Portland?
Well, I can't remember. Oh, a guy had me move him to Portland. I was driving the truck, and I drove the truck and hauled him and his furniture and well, his stuff up to Portland, Oregon.
And you
then
said, I
got-
like this a lot
I
better.
was supposed to get a job driving a truck delivering bakery goods house to house. And I don't know, somehow or the other, they had enough drivers or something, so I didn't get that job. And then I went into Portland. I got doing a little bit of everything.
Well, in Portland, is that where this picture comes from?
No, that one's Roseburg.
Okay, Portland, what did you do? You worked up at Silver Creek?
Huh?
Silver Creek Falls?
Silver Creek Falls, that's about a few miles out of Portland.
And you were a logger up there?
Yeah.
What can you tell me about logging?
Huh?
What can you tell me about logging?
Well, Uncle Sam, I had 4 children. Uncle Sam says we can't take you, so they said you get into central industry.
Right.
So I heard that I could get a job in the woods. So I went down and I started cutting fallen trees by hand.
By hand.
Yeah.
And how did you like Silver Creek Falls?
Well, that's where I was working.
Beautiful, beautiful place.
Oh, that's a fantastic. Yeah.
The little house that we were living in is now, they've torn it down, but the place where we lived is now part of the Falls property.
Campgrounds and all, a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah, it's
place.
a beautiful place.
And how old were you at the time?
I was 4 years old when we lived up at Silver Creek Falls.
But then what came next?
Well, we moved to Roseburg in 1945.
And in Roseburg, Dad did what?
He worked in the woods.
What job did he have in the woods?
Well, he was little and limber, and so they had him cut the spar pole, which is when they do the logging up there, they usually drag the trees that are fallen out of the woods over to where they can put them on the trucks and then take them to the mills. And so he would climb clear up to the top of that thing, and when you chop the top off, boy, it would sway back and forth about 4 feet in different directions, and it was really something. And sometimes he'd show off and dance a jig on the top, but
You'd do that.
yeah, he liked to do all that kind of stuff.
I fell to what they call Douglas fir trees. They were real heavy. And the 2 main big logs, the bottoms of them, were so heavy they went to the bottom in the river when they dropped them in the river. And I never did get paid for them. Never got paid for them because they were bottom of the river, and the truck driver didn't know, or the people didn't know they were going to float or sink.
Wouldn't
So
float.
they were laying at the bottom of the river, and I never got paid for cutting them. And one was only just 3 inches under 4 feet.
4
So
feet.
that was a lot of money at that time. Well,
How much did you make for a tree like that?
huh?
How much did you make for a tree cut?
Oh, I don't remember now. $1.50, $1,000. See, if they measure 'em, a tree like that was about 1,000 feet, a 40-foot log. See, so that's the way they.
That's how you know what.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's the way they had it figured out.
He cut one
Let's
tree
see that-
somewhere.
Let's see that one there.
He cut one tree somewhere that was almost 9 feet in diameter.
Oh,
And the piece that they cut off was too heavy and too big for the truck, so they couldn't take it to the mill because it was too big.
wow.
The bottom end was too big.
Yeah, that I never got paid for that. That's a camp meeting.
Where's this?
No, that was taken in Roseburg. They had an evangelism series with Elder Osage.
Well, that's quite a building. Do you know what it was used for otherwise?
That was the year I got baptized, so I don't really remember. I'm just barely over in the corner about where your top other finger is. No, up there a little bit.
Okay.
And
Well, no wonder there's a lot of kids here. This is a gorgeous picture. I don't know if the building was an old barn or
I don't think so. It might have been they were going to make a mill or something out of it.
that
I don't
might
really
well
know.
be. You've brought so many pictures, and let's talk about your family because this lady's pretty important.
Yeah, that's my grandmother. She lived to be almost 106.
Okay, it's an immigrant's dream.
102.
That's when.
Norwegian.
Yeah.
She's a Norwegian. Now, when she immigrated, how old was she?
Well, my grandfather came over when he was 19, and she came a few years later. I'm not really sure, but
No, they both come over the same year. Both come over the same year. This man in Roseburg, he sponsored people
In
from
South
Norway.
Dakota.
He was a Norwegian, and he would sponsor the people. And he sponsored mother and dad both at the
But
same
they didn't
time.
know one another at the time?
Huh?
Did they know one another at the same time?
I think they were sweethearts in Norway.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They were just neighbors a little ways apart, and then they come over and he sponsored them, and then they got married. And,
Now, this was in South Dakota, near Wall, South Dakota.
Yes.
well, interiors were there's about 20 miles or 25 miles.
I guess all of us have heard.
And interior is right in what we call the Badlands.
Oh, and it is.
Yeah.
And
They lived within walking distance of the Badlands.
just like the little different ridges come up and they were sloping, just like this.
Because
From
Wall's
Iowa.
way up here, and then you drop off like that. And there's the Badlands as far as the eye can see. Lots of pioneers remember that tough, tough times. We want to get to, you had a Portland time. You lived in Portland for a time.
Yeah, until I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
And
I
then-
was born in Portland, and my younger sister was born in Portland. Actually, the two oldest kids were born in South Dakota. The two next kids were born in Montana, and then us two were born in Portland.
Girls, girls, girls.
Two.
Yeah.
But what's the Douglas connection?
Well, that's where we went to school. That was what the, whatever that thing is called.
So we're down
Douglas County.
to Douglas County.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way from
That's
Norway.
This one.
That's about your mom. And your mom and dad, we've got a picture of them with your, this is Grandma
Yes.
and Mom
Yeah, my mother's the one up in the,
with,
Daddy's on one side and Mom's on the other side.
this is this guy
Yeah.
we're looking at right now. And all his kids and his mother.
That's my mother there.
I brought, when you talked about a big log, I brought a few of my toys here. This is the way they did it.
Yeah, and I cut one that was 2 inches over 9 feet in diameter.
9
Yeah.
feet.
And they couldn't haul it on the truck, so there it lay, that big 8-foot log. A lot of money in it, and I never did get paid for cutting it.
You never,
Of course, they didn't pay until they had it in the sawmill.
in the mill, not in the deep of the pond. Now, do you have a special mark that said that you cut that tree? Did you have a mark at the end of the log that said,
Oh yeah, I had to put my initials on it.
how'd you do it?
The hammer. I had the hammer that had certain numbers on it. And I'd hit the end of the log 3-4 places, and then they'd go, oh, that's 3003, that's Carl Olson. 03 was Carl Olson.
Well, now, you've moved from over,
It was fantastic, I tell you, just me growing up at that time. When I was born, there was no mail service. You had to go down to the railroad track and get your mail from the post office. I mean, for
the train,
oh boy,
the train station?
yeah, train station.
Okay.
They had to go down there, or else they would, maybe once a week, or maybe once every 2 weeks, they go down to get the mail.
Now, I just heard a funny story about car licenses.
Yeah. Well, at that time, we didn't even have a car. There was no cars when I was born. In that area.
Okay.
Sure, they had them back in New York and Boston and all that, but they didn't have them out west. They didn't even have gasoline, so you could drive a car until I was about 6 or 7 years old.
And what about roads? Did they have
Yeah.
much of a road through your Badlands?
And they had a few cars that they used coal in.
Oh, really?
And that heat the water, and then the water pressure was, you turn it on and run your.
Wow. Now, are these pictures back in Oregon?
That's my God.
Yeah, that was close to Silver Creek Falls when we were little.
And that was just fun, fun.
When we were little, we walked over there to the falls. Well, there's 8 falls is all together around there, and we walked over to one of them. I'm not sure which one it was, but
Hamilton, Montana.
I'll just encourage everyone who hasn't been to Silver Creek Falls, put that on your next picnic list.
it's wonderful there. It's just really
It
wonderful.
can't be an hour's drive out of Portland or Salem.
It's only 14 miles east of Salem.
So I really recommend it. I did an overnight up in that area one time. You want to show me a picture there?
We've been having reunions up there for the last 2 years.
Well, now, Dad,
Before I met her, I had a dream, and I knew what she looked like.
isn't that
Yeah, you already
wonderful?
said that one.
Now, you told us about your pool. You love to play pool, but what about Scrabble? Looks like you like to play,
Oh yeah.
or anagrams, which,
That's Indian train. It's with dominoes.
okay. That's another thing he loves to play.
Yeah, he likes to play dominoes.
With all these pictures, I hardly know which one to ask you about. Some of these are so precious. What do we got?
That's all of us girls when my oldest sister got
Carl.
married
Oh,
Carl,
everybody's.
Julie.
in Roseburg.
This is a Roseburg wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've spent a lot of time about the Willamette Valley and you folks being up north. Where are you now?
We're in Brookings.
What takes you down to the coast?
We came, my father started living down there with my sister. She lived in Brookings.
And your sister's name?
Mildred Feber at the time.
And do you, the coast has its own attractions, so you have seen a whole lot.
We even got to see, I got to see the tsunami down there, and it really ruined that harbor. I should have brought pictures of both, you know, showing before what it looked like there, and then after the tsunami, all the boats were all in clumps, and all the docks were taken away. Anyway, they were all over on the side. No.
Harbor
Yeah.
is actually your address?
Yes, we actually live in Harbor.
Now, this,
Yeah,
Every-
shooting pool. I
Yeah.
think I was at my 100 and,
That was
No,
your
no.
100th birthday.
yeah, 100th birthday. And by golly, I beat 6 or 8 guys that night.
good for you, Guy. And this is at the Elks Club?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brother Elk. Yeah, brother. You know, there's just so many wonderful pictures here you have, but this calendar that your children made up of you,
I
well,
started to get tears in my eyes.
1932, and then it just kind of walks your family up.
Yeah.
Dad's, I can see all these things that,
Yeah, that was in Portland.
now is this the candy store?
Yes.
Tell me that story.
Well, somebody tried to rob the candy store, and we had a collie dog, and she somehow warned the people or something, and they went and caught the, not that dog, but they caught the robbers, and so from then on they kept giving us candy every time we was outside or whenever we were running around, and so we got to, every once in a while we'd go over and ask them for some, and they say, okay.
Now that,
You got some Kleenex around?
well, you just,
Just wait a minute. They only got 5 minutes more.
We've got, I can see that you've got a crying eye, but you're doing pretty good for you see quite well?
Oh,
Except
yeah,
when
sleep
that,
pretty good, yeah.
and
But I,
He had cancer removed from the eyelid. That's
Ah.
why it's the way it is. And also, actually, last February, he had cancer removed from his ear and from his lower lip in the hospital right here in Grants Pass.
oh, because we're the nearest big hospital. And Medford's the nearest bigger hospital.
Yeah.
And then Portland or Sacramento.
Yes.
So your daughter was telling me about your lip.
yeah,
You've done real well.
that was many, many years ago. I had an X-ray burn, took
I-
the cancer off.
I just came from my cancer support group because I've had cancer, lymphoma. We're lucky.
Yeah.
We have stories to tell.
Well, I learned that cayenne pepper would kill it.
Oh,
So I got to taking cayenne pepper in capsules, and I stopped it.
wow. The things, what is the most impressive change you've seen in your life? Is this your little girl?
No, that's my mom. but that's upsetting him to see that because it's been so long ago. She died 25 years ago. So
Oh, and tell me her name again.
Geneva May Woods is her maiden name. Of course, it's Geneva May Olson.
What's the story about the?
Yes, she's the one I had a dream about. I knew who she was. As
Before
soon as I saw her, I knew that's what
You're not supposed to move.
Tell me how long were they married?
I don't really remember for sure.
Oh, you didn't have a 50th anniversary or anything
No.
like that, but you sure celebrated 100, and I see 101 birthday too.
Yeah.
100 and
Well, they were just being funny. They had 100-year birthday, then 100 and a half, and then 101. And so he'll be 102 in January.
oh my goodness. Well, maybe we'll play this in January and just sing happy birthday to you. We thank you so much for coming all the way from.
Brookings.
Do you really live in Brookings, or
Well,
do you?
we live in Harbor, but they just call it Brookings, the whole place. They just call it Brookings. Well, when you're over there, they call it Harbor, but we get our mail, but we have to have it sent to Brookings because they deliver the Harbor mail.
And over, I thought Harbor Brookings, when I hear the two, or Brookings Harbor, I thought they just meant that was where they moored ships.
Well, I think originally it was, but then people started calling it Harbor instead of Brookings, so they just kept the name.
Well, thank you so very.
Well, it's harbor on one side of the river, Brookings on the other.
And what river is that?
Yeah.
Chetco.
The Chetco River. You've got a tremendous amount of Indian history over there, and I betcha we could talk about that too.
We probably could.
But it's thank you time, it's farewell, and thank you folks for tuning in to Better Life TV. I'm Bernie Beck for Journeys and Journals. These stories just make me very happy, and at 101 and a half, you're it. You're the, and you come from Highway 101. I love that smile.
Highway 101.
Yeah, it goes right through Brookings and Harbor.
And he's 101.
Yep.